How you doing? My name is Bob Mamek. I was an Ottawa cop for the city of Ottawa. Started back in 2003, ended up losing my job in 2011. Back in 2007, I was accused of being a criminal by my own police service. And here are the details of what happened. Apparently one day I was on patrol, ran a plate number, it came back to an unmarked police car in Toronto. I had no clue that I even had run this plate number, but unfortunately at the same time that vehicle was following an East Indian crime organization. But at this point I had no idea that I even had run this plate number. Months later, I kept getting strange phone calls from East Indian individuals speaking Punjabi, asking if I know Paul and if I run some information for them. And it was just a weird set of circumstances. I didn't really understand it. I actually have a brother named Paul, which is funny enough. The one day I did receive a weird phone call saying Paul was being followed and his car's been following him, and the person on the phone did give me a plate number. I asked, "Where is Paul?" And the person on the other line insisted that this car was following him, that they're friends of Paul's. It didn't make any sense. So I replied, if Paul needs information, he can call me himself. It didn't jive with me very well. So I ended up getting in touch with my brother, who lives in Sarnia, and we determined Paul was safe, and he was in Sarnia, and we don't know where that phone call came from. It was very strange. I was unaware that the person who had called me was an undercover police officer from Toronto. He had called setting me up as my own police service in Ottawa had already accused me of being a criminal and linked with the East Indian gang in Toronto. All because of my nationality and my ethnicity is all they based it on. What I learned that other police officers had run this plate number as well. However, they were Caucasian, and they were only asked why that the plate number was run. I was never given that opportunity. I was brought in, accused of being a criminal, threatened by Sergeant David Spicer of the Ottawa Police Service that I'd be going to jail. I was stripped of my badge, I was stripped of my uniform, I was stripped of my dignity, is what happened. I was in shock. I had no idea what was happening. As the trial started within the Ottawa Police Service, there was an internal review under the Police Services Act, and in the newspapers as well. The chief of police at that time, Chief Vernon White, wanted my job, had gone to the papers that the only possible solution is to have me fired. Now, the hearing did start at the Ottawa Police Service. But how can you get a fair trial when the chief of police who wants you fired appoints the hearing officer of who is going to hear the case? It is absurd to get a fair trial. As going through the trial, hearing officer Terrence Kelly, who is originally from York Regional Police, was hearing the case from a case that started in Toronto and that involved York Regional Police officers as well. So my question is, how can a York Regional Police officer hear a case that involves individuals that he knows personally on a personal level. It shouldn't be allowed, but unfortunately it was. As the trial continued, my lawyer was constantly put down and stopped from asking questions, when the prosecution lawyer had full range and was able to ask whatever they wanted. They had brought up information which was ridiculous and accused me of being a criminal. And even to go as far as accusing me of being a terrorist, which is absolutely absurd. My mother had died on the Air India bombing, Flight 182, back in 1985. And to accuse me of any type of criminal activity and terrorism is ridiculous. It's just another fight that I have to deal with. As the trial continued, my brother Paul came forward and testified that he was my brother and that the individual, criminal individual, named Paul as well, was no relation to me. I supplied all my phone records, all my bank information, confirming I had no idea who these individuals were. However, in the end, the prosecution even stated that I was not linked with any organized crime. However, I lost my job anyway. I was told to resign within 7 days or be fired because I could not be trusted. Which didn't make any sense, as Sergeant David Spicer himself, who stripped me of all my belongings, stated that I left blank pages on my notebook. Which didn't make any sense at all, as the case may be. He lost important information, important evidence, such as my ticket books and all my tickets that would have notes on the back of them. How convenient, I said. I have been trying to fight this. I have lost everything I possibly have. And I don't know really what to do anymore. I have contacted all members of government, all across Canada, newspapers, everywhere. Not one person is willing to help. I am asking somebody out there knows the truth of what happened and would like for them to come forward, especially the undercover officer in Toronto who mysteriously dropped out of the investigation and wanted no part in any longer. I would like for him to come forward and tell the truth of what was really happening. The Ottawa Police Service could not provide sufficient evidence, and they were even satisfied that I was not linked with anybody. So why did I lose everything and lose my job? In the end, I found out Chief Vernon White was picked by Prime Minister Harper to the Senate. Then later found out Sergeant David Spicer was promoted and other individuals promoted after my case. My charges were 1 count of breach and 1 count of insubordination. And here I hear other police officers who have been charged with breach, perjury, with numerous cases and numerous offenses under the Police Services Act. And they keep their job. There is much more behind what happened to me, and all I'm asking for is somebody out there to help me. Any lawyer who can help me out. Unfortunately, I've lost everything. I don't have anything left. But I am begging for somebody out there to help me. Newspaper, investigative reports, anybody who can help me out. Thank you very much, and I hope somebody can help me soon. Thanks.